All right, so we are here today talking to Brian from AdHenge. I'm excited about this video because Brian and I have been talking for weeks about marketing. I'm in the HVAC business 20 years. Brian is in the data business. He's in the marketing business, and we have gone back and forth and talked about everything. It's been great. It's been awesome.
It's been
So
awesome. I'm pumped to be on here with you. This is gonna be
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So we said, hey, why don't we just jump on a video and share with the business community, specifically the HVAC business community for this video, because I'm in HVAC. Brian, I think you do specifically HVAC, but really for anyone, roofing, the home service business, plumbing, electrical, you can use any of this information for that. So, Brian, before we get started, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get started? How do you fit in this whole world here?
Oh God, I didn't fit not too long ago. It's crazy. The journeys that we kind of go on here. So my background specifically is with data analytics. Got a master's in business data analytics. Where you kind of have to go through its predictive modeling. It's essentially the world we live in now, but it was years ago when I did it. So it's, the AI, which is just essentially, a model that will, or a data model where you just put in an input and it'll find everything that you need, right? So when I got into that, that's what I do right now for a bank. So I've been working at asset data science for private wealth banks, working with hedge funds for over a decade. And, essentially it kind of came about because I actually had my HVAC system break down, right? And so
Mm,
I had Fidelity National Warranty. The first few people they sent out, they're like, this is going to take us a couple of weeks to get out there, a couple of days. And I was like, can I just find someone local that has an appointment for the next day? Because I'm in Arizona. It gets to be 120 degrees. You don't
mhm.
have AC. You're not sleeping because that's hot. So I found a small business guy that's local. And when he came over, I just, anytime someone comes over to fix something, I'm always kind of over the shoulder and I apologize to them right away because I'm like, I'm just curious how this works. My
Mhm.
curiosity always gets the best of me. So we ended up talking, and he was just like, yeah, my hardest thing is just finding, good customers. And he's like, with a lot of the companies out there now, they don't really care if you fail. They just care about getting you leads. They don't care about the quality of leads. And he's like, I'm honestly struggling. I'm paying Thumbtack or Angie's List majority. He's like, I do this through Fidelity National Warranty, and that's the best way that I found. And just seeing how, he's gone through trials and tribulations of getting into marketing. I started just giving him little pinpointer advice because I was like, well, I do this for online coaches.
Mhm.
You can just put your name out there on Facebook, but you actually have to, do your organics first. Like, what's your main offer that works best? What's this and that? And we just got into a conversation about it. And so I came to the realization where my same efforts that I do for my day job, working with hedge funds, I might get them a 1%, 2% uptick in their revenue, right?
Mhm.
But that same effort being put forth for a small business,
Mhm.
the impact is just huge. Just having that knowledge of, this is how data works. This is what we can do to kind of progress your business. This is how you get exposure. Um, it just seemed to help him a lot more because he had no idea about it. So that's kind of what thrust me into, essentially working with just solely HVAC.
Yeah.
There are a few different industries that could tie in, because HVAC typically, like we've talked about before,
Mhm.
it's HVAC, electrical or electricity, what have you, and plumbing,
Yeah.
right? So there's also other industries that kind of fall within the same criteria when it comes to data, and that's going to be like roofers, um, again, plumbers, but home remodeling, because it's all
Yeah.
service based. You're locked into your service area. You're not going to drive 3 hours or
Right.
travel to another state. So it gets it out there.
Yeah. And it's funny you mention it because being known, right? So I've been in business in HVAC for 20 years in my city. And you pick a random year and you see a different level of exposure for my business. So the first couple years, man, I want to say I was the best HVAC company in the city. Like I'm going to claim it, but
Mhm.
getting customers isn't really as much about being the best. I wish that it was, but it's more about being known. There's a lot of people out there that are the best, but you don't know them because they just don't know how to put their presence out there. Oftentimes it's just a level of effort to get out there and be seen and be known that a lot of contractors like me don't know or understand, because we're working hard, we're taking care of people, we're getting 5-star reviews, but we just get a block of, why aren't people calling me? And sometimes you have these big companies that aren't as good. Some big companies are good, right? We have some that
Mhm.
aren't as good, but it's like you're hitting your head against a wall. And I know I've done it in my early years of like, why are they so known? And it's not on accident. There's a way to be known. There's a way to go out, find that data, find out where your customers are, and get those calls, because you can't do your best work. You can't serve your community. You can't take care of families, cool their houses down, meet their needs if nobody knows who you are. Right. So that's where it starts for me. So what do you think about that in the world of being known in your experience? Where do you think that starts?
You know, it's tough to get clients if no one knows who you are. You know, if you
Right.
don't have a sign, or if there's no brand awareness out there,
Mm-hmm.
there's no business. People don't
Right.
know about you. They would
Right.
love to go with you for
Yeah.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't even know you exist. So
Right.
you have to kind of get your name out there. And, you know, I go through that same exact trial right now. You know, we're just dealing specifically with HVAC. We're about
Yeah.
4 months in,
Mm-hmm.
and just even becoming known, becoming trusted, which is the main aspect. Um, and then being competitive. You know,
Yeah.
that's the trinity right there, where you actually have to, one, you can't be charging 10 times
Mm-hmm.
more than whoever you're competing with. But two, you have to be known. People have to know,
Yeah.
oh, I've heard of them before. Oh, I've seen their flyers before, you know. Oh, I've seen them
Right.
on, you know, Facebook, Instagram, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
So getting yourself known and out there, think about it like a resume. You know, you're sending your resume out for those that work in the 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're sending it out to multiple different companies, and that will get you seen by at least the
Right.
HR person. But then,
Yeah.
you know, if you're on a podcast, or if you have your YouTube channel, or you're posting content that
Mm-hmm.
has to do with that job, people are like, oh, this guy's known. We know who he is. This is fantastic.
Right.
So, and
And that's
even,
what, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
sorry, I was just gonna say, but even to go back on what you said, even if you aren't the best,
Mm-hmm.
you are the best known. So you will still get more business just
Right.
because you are known, you're top of mind for other, you know, the consumers and your clients that you're trying to get after.
Right. I tell you what, I was because I do business coaching. And I was on stage recently doing a marketing talk. And one of the things I like to share when you talk about marketing, right? And specifically today, we're going to be talking about Facebook marketing, right? So many times people will say, well, I tried Facebook marketing, it doesn't work. This is the funny thing about that. You can go to a lake. I don't fish. I've never fished a day in my life, right? Well, I hope one
Oh,
day
man,
someone invites
questions
me.
great.
Right. I hope one day someone invites, but I've never done it. I can go to a lake because of my inexperience and catch nothing, and then go
Mhm.
around for the rest of my life saying there's no fish in that lake. Another guy, an experienced fisherman, can go to that same lake and come back with boatloads of fish, right? And oftentimes that's what happens is we try things on our own, right? And we go on Facebook and we put these vanilla or these bland marketing messages out there. We put our story out there, and a lot of times not even a story, maybe an ad like buy my service today, and nothing happens. So it's not about only just putting yourself out there. That's level one, because you
Mhm.
have to put yourself out there, right? But then
Oh, yeah.
number two, what are you putting out there about yourself, right? And I give this example. If we were on a dating profile and we said, hey, one day I want to get married or settle down and have a family, and we go on one of those dating websites and say, I'm a man, I'm single, not going to get anywhere, right? And you're
Mhm.
going to go and say, there's no single women out there. But what about if you go on there and you tell your story, right? This is what I love. My name is Brian. I like long walks on the beach. I like deep, meaningful conversations,
Like long walks on the beach.
right? And this is what happens when you talk about being known. What are you
Mhm.
known for? How are you putting yourself out there? No ad or no marketing message works without a good offer first and maybe a good message. Do you find that when you're crafting Facebook ads or Facebook marketing? Do you find that important?
Yeah, 100%, right? And to go to your dating analogy, right? That makes total sense because if you think about it, every single person is different, right? You're
Mhm.
gonna have different likes, you're gonna have different dislikes, and that's what the data tells us. Um, and everyone kind of knows that, you have a group of friends where you might have one thing in common. Say you all like playing basketball, right? So I have a group of buddies where that's all we do, but then you start to learn each one as an individual, and everyone has their own characteristics. Everyone's different, everyone's unique in their own way. And that's what you have to portray to your consumers. Otherwise, you're just another business out there and they're going to try and
Mhm.
shop for the bottom dollar. And that's where you see
Right.
a lot of the price competitiveness. That's where you see, oh, well, this company can do it for cheaper. This company will do it for less. They'll do it maybe not faster, but it's like, I'd rather wait a week and I'll save $1,000.
Mhm.
You have to put forth, your best foot there, like your values, your family owned,
Mhm.
your local, and trying to support your local community. You donate to your community. You can mention stuff like, I think I did a post about this, about buying your kids' team's soccer jerseys.
Mhm.
Short change, right? But
Mhm.
all of the parents, you took that weight off of them because if you ever had a kid, I don't have kids myself, but I work with everyone who has kids.
Mhm.
Um, and they always talk about sports. And like, I have to buy more jerseys this week. I have to buy new cleats. I have to buy a new
Yeah.
helmet. And if there was one person out there that just bought, maybe you spent $500 on jerseys, guess
Mhm.
what? You just got in all of those parents' favor. And they're going to know about, and they're
Absolutely.
like, wow, this person's trustworthy. They're helping us out. I've talked to them. They're very genuine. So you
Right.
have to really portray yourself in your business and what
Mhm.
sets you apart.
Yeah, because it's about like who are you? And if you notice
Mhm.
back here, I have a book. It's called Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And knowing who you are, telling people who you are, why you're in business, right? And it sounds cheesy to a lot of contractors because
Mhm.
you're in your mind of what you want. I'm an HVAC contractor. What do I want? I want people to pay me for repairs and installation. Okay. But that's what I want. How good is a message to you about what I want? And we've all had that before. We've hung out in places, church, at the park, and we meet people. All they do is talk about themselves, themselves. That's not a fun
Mhm.
conversation, right? So for me, when you're posting a message, and I know when I go to post on my HVAC business's socials, I start with what does the person reading this want? Because if
Mhm.
they find something that they want, they're likely to not scroll as quick. Nobody wants to sit down. If you put yourself in the mind of someone who's on Facebook, what are they
Mhm.
probably doing? They probably got off work. They changed their clothes, took their work clothes off, put some sweats on, put a hoodie on, pulled up the blanket, and they start to scroll. They want to be entertained. They don't want to find out what Brian wants, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it starts with, okay, I'm going to create an offer. It's going to go on Facebook. First thing is this an offer my customer wants? Because if I don't start there, it's going to fall flat pretty quick. So it's putting the homeowner hat on. What does a customer want? Do they have allergies? Do I have something that helps them with their allergies? Is there something in their home that I know about that they don't know about that I can educate them on that would make them share with their friend? Hey, Brian, did you know if you do this in your house, it'll lower your electric bill? Now they're sharing it. And it starts there. And if you've tried things on your social media channels and they haven't worked, that would be the first test. Did you start it with something that the person on the other end actually wants? Right. Do you ever find yourself so your Facebook ads, okay?
Yeah,
Have you ever seen any bad Facebook ads? You're scrolling, right? And you're seeing Facebook ads, you're like, geez, this is a bad ad. Tell me why those ads are bad, why you would think it would fall
it's
flat.
funny. It's funny because I've actually commented on them. So I saw one. There was one for, like I think he was a lawyer that's local to me. Didn't even edit the video. It starts with him. It shows him pressing the record button on his phone,
Mm-hmm.
take a breath, and then saying out his message. And his message, it didn't even include an offer. He was, kind of trying to he talked more about himself, and that was the first 10
Okay.
seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly I scrolled away and I was like, let me go back. Let me watch this in full. Let me see what pointers I can kind of give him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, number one, you have to edit your video. Like it's
Mhm.
got to be eye catchy. You have 5 seconds to get someone's interest. Not even nowadays, it's down to 3. The first
Yeah.
3 seconds. That's why you always see these people that are out there like, you know, hey, HVAC business owners, you want 30
Hmm.
leads? Like they start
Yeah.
super hard and super fresh, but it's it's kind of now everyone's copying that model. You see it all over the place. So, what I said to him was just, you have to do this, this, and this. And he pinged me. He was just like, well, how long should the video be? And it's like, well, for Facebook, you could go longer if it leads to, a different type of lead form or something, someone who's really interested in it. You can go longer so that they, stay connected, but you have to keep it fresh. And
Yeah.
really what you want to do is keep it where attention grabbing. So
Hmm.
first 3 to 5 seconds, meat and potatoes of who you are and why you're, in business and how you can help. And then the last 10 seconds has to be your offer. And you have to do that within 30 seconds.
Okay.
After that initial 30 seconds, you have to, if you want to continue on video, which I've seen some fitness gurus, they'll continue on. The videos an hour long, which is shocking, but they just have so much information that they feel they need to give.
Hmm.
And it's almost like their way of doing a free tutorial, but also when you click to open and continue to watch, it'll link to their website and you become a lead for that business. So
Yeah.
there are different ways, you want to make sure it's eye catching. You have to make sure it's edited appropriately.
Hmm.
Your message is clear. Like if you're stuttering or if you misspell or missay a word, you have to just go back. You have to take time. It takes time and effort. Nothing's
Yeah.
really, it's not just a one shot and done. You have
Yeah.
to look at angles. You have to look at your background. The
Hmm.
backgrounds of both of our rooms right now, like this is all pre-planned,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
that should be the same thing because you're trying to attract a customer. You want to come across as professional or related. So
Yeah.
there's only really the two options to go to.
Yeah, and that's why I enjoy talking to you, why we talk so much is because so when we first started talking, there's a lot of marketers out there, right? So us HVAC companies listen, I probably get 8 or 10 DMs a week, right?
Mhm.
But when I started talking to you, I said, "Oh man, this guy's really researching. He's really well versed. He's really well skilled. He's got an open mind, which is very important in marketing, right? Because this marketing is a concept that you can study, but you don't want to study so much to where you're rigid because what worked last month maybe doesn't work this month, right? So I said, man, this guy's really flexible, but he's also very skilled and has a lot of experience. So when I hear you say 1 to 2 seconds, it's very interesting because when I look at my data, I do a lot on
Mhm.
TikTok and YouTube, right? And a lot on
Yeah.
Facebook. And when you look at your data, you can see the average retention on your videos. If your
Mhm.
video is bad, it sounds ridiculous, but it will say average view time of this video is 1 second.
Yeah.
So that means you have 1 second to get that person's attention. So you don't have time to say, hey, this is Michael from AC Man Heating and Air Conditioning.
Already
Thank you.
done.
Done.
Already done.
Done.
That's it.
So you
That's
have
it.
to,
And that's another
yeah.
thing I see all the time is I saw someone's so during my late nights, while I'll be in bed, our bedtime's 9 o'clock sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my wife. And then I'm still not tired by that point, and I'll just be on my phone. I'll go through
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and I'll start looking at HVAC owners' profiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I always see the same intro on every video. So if I go to their profile, click on one video, hey, this is Vanessa with blank heating and cool. Hey, this is Vanessa. Hey, this is, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you have to switch it up. You have to
Yeah.
be, it's
Yeah.
entertaining, it's
Mm-hmm.
especially Facebook, Instagram, like you said, people are there to relax during the day.
Yeah.
They're just there to scroll, take their mind off their day,
Yeah.
kind of just unwind.
They
So you
don't
want to
have
be,
time. Yeah. And
they don't have time. Yeah,
don't rob their time. I mean, you're wasting their
exactly. And
time.
it's not, yeah,
Give
and
them
it's
what
not
they
about like
want.
the old commercials you used to see where it's like, we're the lawyer group from down here, and if you ever have this issue, like, we'll do, it's like a big long introduction that we still see them today, commercials on TV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's because you're forced to watch it. You're not
Yeah.
forced to watch the ones that you're scrolling, so you have to do something different. You have to
Yeah.
come across it or just say something catchy in the beginning. That's why you see a lot of these videos where people will say something outrageous
Mm-hmm.
and just to get your attention. And especially for HVAC business owners, the main one that I see is, do you want 30 leads for free before you even pay? Ask
Mm-hmm.
me how. It does, but when you
Hmm.
actually get into the nuts and bolts of how that works,
Yeah.
most companies can't even guarantee, you can't guarantee 30 leads in the first, or
Right.
not 30 quality leads at least.
Right.
So
Right.
it's almost like ruining, because then think about, for me and my business, then when I talk to an HVAC business owner, they're like, well, this other person can get me 30 leads. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, did
Hmm.
you ask them how they're going to do it? Because I can tell you how
Right.
they're going to try and why it'll fail, unless you are the ideal client where it's like you have 10,000, customers on your books, you have
Yeah.
all their information, it just won't work.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So and that's why I love this is it takes so much of what we do is, and I'm not a marketer, but so much of what you do, me as a business owner, is perception. Like you said, nice background, nice camera, nice
mhm,
sound. All of this is just because you're a plumber or an electrician, your customer is still the same, right?
mhm,
So you plan it out a little bit, get in front of your truck. If you notice, if you go on my business Facebook page,
mhm.
over 90% of the videos, I'm standing in front of my truck. Why is that? Because if I'm going to get you for 1 second or 2 seconds, you're going to see my truck. At least I get an impression out of it. It's
It
so,
leads to brand awareness right away from that, especially if you're reaching local people.
yeah.
Boom, right there. Oh, I recognize that truck from something. Where was it
Yeah.
from? And they won't be able to connect the dots, but
Mm-hmm.
they'll sense it's a sense of familiarity
Right.
with your
Right.
truck or design. That's why I know you're going through a rebrand. I can't wait to get on that topic too. But
Mm.
that's why it's so successful to do these big rebrands. It's like what colors pop the most, what sticks in their
Right.
head, what will they remember, and how
Right.
will they remember?
And if
So
you
it's
have
it's
something
it's
sticky,
all psychology, honestly.
yeah,
That's what it
why
comes
not?
down to.
And that's why
Yeah.
you have to, at some point, you have to trust the marketing company, right? And so there's a
Mhm.
lot of distrust because everyone is not Brian, everyone is not AdHinge. There are some, I mean, and God bless them, but there are people who don't give any effort. They're just going to take your
Mhm.
money. They don't have pride like you do. They don't have a sense of like, hey, if I'm going to do this or if I'm not going to do it right, I'm just going to go back and you know what I mean? You have pride in your job. So,
Yep.
but when you find someone who knows what they're doing, then there's a back and forth of, hey, this is kind of how I want my ads to look. This is the message that I'm doing. But then when the
Mhm.
marketer comes back and says, okay, I like that, but you're kind of doing too long of an intro, you have to trust. So there's a back and forth where I have to deliver what you're asking me for as a marketing
Mhm.
company. And then I have to kind of, we play back and forth. And I'll give you an example. I helped my brother with his YouTube videos for a while. He's a musician. He's got a pretty big channel
Nice.
that gets some pretty big sponsorships. He just did one with Home Depot recently.
Oh
And
wow, that's awesome.
yeah, so, but when things really started changing, because him and I are the same, we talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
But when we started just trimming the front of the video, and I remember we got all the way to trimming all the way 3 minutes. We were talking for 3 minutes in our videos before we got to it, right? So now what my videos look like, and if you pay real close attention to my Facebook channel,
Mhm.
you'll see the same video over and over. You'll see different versions of it. And if you pay really close attention, the different versions are the beginning cut off. The video gets
Mhm.
shorter and shorter, where before you might hear me say, hey, this is Mike. I'm in front of this AC. There was something real nasty inside. I want to show you. They're gone. Right. So now I cut straight to the part. They scroll. You see me holding a rat on a stick. This was in an AC unit.
There you go, right there. Boom, done.
They're watching all of it now.
Yep.
Right. And so you
Mhm.
take that message. Okay. So now if you say, okay, Facebook ads, we're running that message in a Facebook ad. And now we're
Mhm.
putting money behind a really good message instead of putting money behind a bland message, which is what happens when we say, I don't like Facebook. I don't like Instagram. I tried it. I worked. I tried Thumbtack. I tried this. Well, if you put $5,000 behind a piece of poop, nobody's going to buy it just because you spent a lot on it. But if you
Yep.
take money and put it behind an ad that's already very good, look at this rat that was in an AC. It's probably in your AC.
Yeah.
Now Now we're starting to make traction. Then you take that money that you put behind this really good message and you
Mhm.
hand it off to someone that knows how to target the customers. Now you have a really good contractor marketer relationship.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful with the message too, because you have to make sure it pertains to your business, right? So I did some tests on this not that long ago. I did a motivational quote, and it was something that I just borrowed from Instagram, and I just had literally reshared on my profile, and it got 100,000 views in about 4 days. And it was
Whoa.
just a motivational quote. It had AI images on it, which is what I'm all about. I love messing with the
Mm-hmm.
AI technology. Got to stay on top of it because that's, where the future's going. And it's a very visually pleasing. It has aesthetics to it, so it's nice to look at. And it was using a movie quote. I think it was from Alfred from Batman,
Mm-hmm.
the latest Batman with Christian Bale.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that Alfred, he's in another movie that I haven't seen, but it was a quote that he said just about pushing forward and sticking to your guts. And it got 100,000 views. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is great. I got views, but it's not doing anything for my business. It doesn't have a message about my
Right.
business. It doesn't have a message about what I do. It doesn't. These are probably people that aren't my customer base.
Right.
99%
Mm-hmm.
probably aren't. So you do want to make a good hook in your video, a good, not a viral video, but something that is attention grabbing, but it has to have all the aspects. All the criteria has to line up, has to show who you are, what you do, your offer, your service area. And if you're starting to get and you're playing around with the content and you're starting to get more views on that,
Mm-hmm.
that's your gold right there.
I love
Because
it.
then, this one actually stuck out more than that one. Here, I'm just trying to say who I am, what I do. On this one, I was providing value, saying, picture in your mind, a shot goes right to a dirty outdoor fan unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a bunch of dust on it and sucking it up. If you just show one of those and you're like, this is how you can clean it for free, you add a little value for something that you're trying to help, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to help them out, it builds trust instantly. It's like, make sure you do this on your own, take off your unit and look through this, take a hose, squirt it off. You're going to increase
Yeah.
the air quality or at least lower the pressure on your system,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then homeowners like myself, I see those types of videos. I'm like, I got to go outside and check it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm ever going to need work, guess who I'm going to call? The person
And
that actually posted the video.
and that it's interesting because I get a lot of pushback on that, right? But I'm going to tell you what's true about that. You're 100% right. We're on the same page with this. When you do those videos, so I've had a lot of success on TikTok. And so I took my TikTok strategy and kind of have slowly been moving it over to Facebook, organic. I only do it organic for mine, right? Because I'm not a professional ads person. I don't want to do it if I don't know how to do it. But
Right.
a lot of contractors say, well, if I show them how to do it, they're going to do it. They're not going to pay me. It couldn't be further from the truth.
It can't be further from the
Yeah.
truth.
What's
Yeah.
actually happening is they're saying, man, this guy really knows what he's doing. That's what's happening psychologically, right?
Mhm.
So, man, he really knows how to do it. Man, he's breaking it down. He's showing how to take these panels off. He's okay. Maybe out of 100 people, there's two guys that'll go try to do it. But 98 of
Yeah.
them are going to say, man, this needs to be done. I just need to get it. And they're going to call you because you come off as the expert. You are the
Mhm.
expert, right? But
Mhm.
now they know you're the expert.
See,
I've,
every time we talk, I'm like, he knows all of this stuff. That's exactly right. Because it
yeah.
shows like, not only does it show that you know what you're talking about and you know how to do what you're doing because you're providing an in-depth, tutorial,
Mm-hmm.
say for just regular homeowners that aren't, very handy, but they also want to try and do some DIY.
Yeah.
Hey, just try this, but they're going to get mid-project, they're going to be, this is
Mm-hmm.
too much.
Yeah.
Or, you get the one or two where they're successful with it, but then they find you valuable. They're going to
Right.
subscribe to your channel. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to take a closer look at you. But it just
Right.
shows trust and I know what I'm doing.
Right.
This is how you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't want to do it, I'm here.
And
That's it. That's all the
they're not
message.
gonna do it. I mean,
Yeah.
some husband is not gonna clock out of his normal job and go outside and fix his AC. His wife's not gonna do it. It's not realistic, right? Me
Yeah.
as a business owner doing HVAC in the middle of the summer, the last thing we're gonna do is crack open Facebook ads and get confused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not worth the time I can do something in 3 hours, Brian can do in 15 minutes, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
so I landed on that accidentally because I was doing TikTok for fun.
Mhm.
And I started doing videos of me out in the field. I said, you know what? I'm just going to teach other HVAC people how to do HVAC.
There you go.
And we got up to 14,000 followers on TikTok. I started getting recognized, like at my kid's soccer game. Hey, it's the AC man. And this is in my town.
No way.
It
Nice.
it can't get better than that. When you're an AC guy, you're not a celebrity, right? So when you can do HVAC and have people in your town recognize your name of your company, you're doing
Mhm.
pretty good, right? And people were calling and saying, "Hey, I saw that TikTok video. I saw that TikTok." And that's when I made a mental connection of no more just straight up offers. Well, sometimes you have to do a straight up sale, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
give, ask,
Mhm.
give, ask. So then when you do ask, hey, we're running this $89 special, you've got all that branding behind you. This is the guy that I've seen that's helping. And I love it. I love this. I love this.
Yeah,
So,
it just works out, especially because you
yeah.
just seem like it, especially when you get, the clout for it,
Mhm.
especially because you're on TikTok, it's going to hit some of your local community first,
Yeah.
and then you get recognized. You're like, this is
Mhm.
fun. It kind of drives you to do it more because you're just
Right.
like, all right, this is working. I'm seeing
Yeah.
results from this.
Mhm.
And it's not like doing TikTok videos. It's not like you're trying to mark down KPIs. You could, a lot
Right.
of the influencers have KPIs that they're trying to hit. But when you're just doing it for fun, like you said, and all of a sudden you're getting recognized,
Right.
man, that burns a fire under you to keep going. Yeah.
Right. And how much is that worth? That brand identity is worth a lot because when someone Googles your name, so I've done Google ads. Last year, I was spending $4,500 a month on Google ads, believe it or not. And
Okay.
I was paying people to find out about me, right? So they're Googling, oh, my AC, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and then some companies pop up. How much
Mhm.
is it worth when people's AC breaks? They just Google my name and get my phone number because they saw me on TikTok. And that's what it's about. And so you learn how to craft a message. I think informative. You get your offer. You have a clear call to action, right? Because you have to. Call to actions are funny because you think it would be obvious if I'm talking about this maintenance program or whatever that I want you to call me, and it's not obvious to people. If you have a clear call to action, you inform, you offer, you educate, and then you ask, and you have a good message. You use a good camera, and believe it or not, the iPhone is a your phone is probably a
Oh,
dumb.
iPhones are fantastic. Yeah.
Right.
As long as you're
Yeah.
not rocking like an iPhone 6.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it. Wear your brand colors, and that's where I do like Facebook ads. And I did a post recently about boosting.
A
Right.
boosted. Yep.
Right.
Yep. That was
I
good.
boost post. That's as far as I will go personally in paying for marketing on my end, right? Because it's easy, it's quick, it's simple, but it's a short solution. But the reason I bring it up is you can test if you have a good ad. And what I laid out in the video is you do a post on Facebook, you do a video about this, you put some photos of some jobs, you do this, you do, then you notice one or two of them is getting a lot of organic traction.
Mhm.
Not paying for it, it's just people are liking it, they're sharing it, they're commenting on it. That's giving you an idea of what a good message that would work. You take that message and then you say, now let's put some money behind it. So tell me, where do you start when you talk about, okay, now I'm posting organically, I'm doing all this. Now I want to go a little bit deeper and start putting some money into Facebook and doing some targeted ads. Tell me a little bit about that.
Right. So you nailed it right there. You have to start with your organics. So it takes legwork. You have to put, but it's your business, right? And obviously you've been in business for 20 years. You know the drill. You should be excited about your business. You should be excited about reaching out to your customers. You should be excited about gaining new customers. You should be excited about your brand awareness. It's something you should be excited about. And I've talked to, a range of different people, where they're shape one clients or shape three. And when I say shape one or shape three, picture shape one is the best that you could possibly be. You're multi-city, you have a fleet of trucks. You're not just doing HVAC, but you also have an arm for electrical, you also have an arm for plumbing. You're doing well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's shape two. Shape 2 is just a little bit less than that. Maybe they have 2 locations. They still have more trucks, but the owner is not really focused on doing the work. They're focused on running the business, which is where you should, aspire to be. And then there's Shape 3. Shape 3 is just a solo man in the van. They're doing their best. They're trying to get more jobs. They might not have a lead list, kind of accumulating. And you really want to just focus on where you are. What shape do I fit into now, and how do I get to the next shape? And for those that are, when you're talking about Shape 2 and Shape 1 clients, they're not going to be focused more on organics anymore because they've already passed that point. But for everyone else that's kind of, more in the Shape 3 aspect, you have to start with your organics. You have to know what offer connects with your consumer base. So I'll be honest, 9%, it's usually just cash off, right? So the economy's hurting, inflation's, still very, very high. Cash off offers typically work best, but you have to just test it out. Post it on your, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, post it into groups, see and keep track of the KPIs and key performance indicators of, all right, my goal for this post, I put more effort into this. I want at least 20 likes and 5 comments. And all of a sudden you're excited about it and you're all pumped, you post it and no one likes it. Wrong message. So then you have to kind of reframe that and then go into, okay, well, what else can I try? And there's really easy ways to kind of practice this by yourself, where you just have to take the time, not necessarily get in front of a camera, but you just have to like put the time into posting things, and you have to keep track of your winners, right? Separate the winners from the losers. Then you have a group of winners. Guess what? There's going to be a major winner out of that group. Once you find that, then you shove it out into an ad. And if you're struggling at any point in that, like whether it be, I didn't get enough attention. Okay, why didn't I get attention? Could be my offer. It could be the content. It could have been my message. You have to break each one down. And if you're curious about your offer, I was going to go into this before until I kind of went off there. You go to Groupon. Go to Groupon, type in your zip code, see what other businesses are doing. You can even go on I'd recommend going on Angie's List, but I don't at the same time because then other contractors pay for it. So that's a big no. Yeah, just going on Groupon, seeing what your competition is, and then just moving from there, just to make sure that your offer is on point. Because if you start and you do all the work and your offer is not on point, then it's not going to work. Unless you're doing super customized jobs, which isn't the case with HVAC. You're just you're going to have to just stay competitive. That's the main part. And then just make sure your content and your message is clear, and it should just go from there. But you have to do it sequentially. There's a strategy behind it, and that's honestly the best way.
It's funny because, and this is a tip for some of the maybe smaller companies who don't have a lot of experience marketing their business. This is a persuasive tip. Your message can play to your strength. So whatever position your company's in is your strength. And this is what I mean. If you're a small one man in a truck, that's your strength. That's your message, right? I'm a local company. We're just, one guy. But when you call us, the owner of this company will be at your house, not some 19-year-old kid who's 2 months out of tech school. I'm the owner and no one's going to be more passionate than me. That's your message. That's a pretty strong message. Okay. Now, if you have 30 trucks, you're on the opposite end of that. So what's your message? That you have 30 trucks. We'll never leave you stranded and your heat is out for 3 or 4 days because we have a full team of people and we operate around the clock, right? If you're in the middle, what's your message? What's my message? I've been in business 20 years. That's my message. I'm a veteran, right? So I'm here at Fort Bragg. It's the biggest military base in the country. I'm a veteran. It's a pretty powerful message. So you find your message, right? And so that's just a tip. That's free for those of you that are out there. Now, you mentioned something that I think is interesting because you said you tweak your message, right? So you go out there, you put it out there, you're proud of it. It doesn't work. That points to 2 things for me. Number one, don't be married to what you think is good. People are telling you it sucks because no one's clicking on it, no one's sharing it. Deal with it, right? Tweak it. And that's why it takes time when you're running Facebook ads is it takes time to tweak things. Any marketer experienced or business owner experienced, doesn't matter. You're going to put something out there and you're going to slowly tweak it until you get it into this fine-tuned ad. And that can take sometimes 60, 90 days, you know, so
Yeah,
you
it
can't
could
be so
be
quick to
longer too. You never know.
threw $2,000 and ran an ad for 3 weeks. I quit. Tweak it. Like, get your dating profile out there. Everyone's swiping left on me, right? Try a new
Mhm.
photo, right? Okay, well, a couple people are picking my profile. Okay, now maybe change your bio. And it might take a while, but if you quit, and I always use dating because we're trying to get a date with our customers. You know, we're
It is
reaching out.
it's a first date. Every customer that you get, it's a first date. I even call my offer my first date offer.
Okay, there
It's
you
just like,
go.
hey, man, you don't really believe in the science? We'll do a
Right,
first date offer.
right.
I will use your lead list that might be accumulating dust, or
Mhm.
you haven't really done anything with it. We'll structure it and we'll get you a few leads and a few jobs. And then that way you kind of build trust into what I do. And I'm just honest with them the entire way. Like, we do it by doing this, and then we're going to do this. And then if you
Right.
want to sign up, we'll just continue to practice that, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
teach you how to do it on your own. But it's just, yeah, it's a first date. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
dating. Everything in your life is a date, When it comes
Right.
to business, a job interview, that's a date. You're putting on
Mm-hmm.
your best face. You're best dressed. You're
Right.
trying to make an impression on someone.
Right.
It is literally the same with everything in business.
Right.
How do you talk? How do you come across on video? How do you come across
Mm-hmm.
in person? Because and this happens a lot, and this kind of touches back on what you're saying. People love to talk about themselves, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
power to you if you know how to use it. And my wife pointed this out to me, changed my life forever. The fact that people love to talk about themselves is your superpower. So if you ever meet someone at a networking event,
Mm-hmm.
ask them questions. Hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? So what do you do? Oh, I do this, this, and this. Okay, how does
Mm-hmm.
that work out? And just keep probing with questions. It has two effects. One, it builds trust.
Yeah.
That person likes you because they're able to talk about themselves to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then two, you get to learn all the information about that person without giving an inch about what you do.
Right.
So some of the conversations I've had, I'll go back to my wife and I'll be like, all he knows is that I've gotten a degree in data science.
Mm-hmm.
I know everything. I know how many kids he has, their
Yeah.
birthdays, his job, his client
Mm-hmm.
base, the issues he's having at home, issues he's having in the business. It's such a powerful tool. And if you do
Yeah.
that with your customers, you can do that easily as an HVAC business owner. Ask them questions. Hey, how come you haven't washed this off,
Yeah.
wash the outdoor unit off with a hose? Oh, I didn't know. Okay, well, let me teach you how. So why do you have, X, Y? And you can continue those questions on.
Right.
And it gives you such a better understanding about your customer base and the
Mm-hmm.
problems that they're really facing. And it gives you a chance to just network and actually get to know someone. But at the
Right.
bottom line, it still builds trust because they're like, oh, that person was real nice.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And we talk about that.
they do
It's
it to you.
yeah. So well, I love people who care, right? I mean, if you come
Yeah.
in and DM me or ask me about my business and you just immediately start talking about yourself, you don't care about me and I don't care about you, right? So I love people who care. You genuinely care. I genuinely care about my customers. Obviously, you genuinely care about your customers, right? I can feel it when we've been talking like, hey, this guy is a good guy. And we talk about that. I have an online sales course, a company I own called Sales Elite. And we
Nice.
talk about that. It's called building rapport. And you build rapport by asking questions, right?
Yep.
It's not manipulative. It's not sleazy. It's being a good human, right?
Yeah.
You're inviting me into your home, into your life. If it's a DM, the least I can do is ask you about you, right? You know, like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, Brian, I see that well, obviously you work out, man. I'm trying to get big like you. You know, we're humans. So we should act like humans, not robots. Robots don't work, right? So
And a key part of that, you have to be genuine behind your
yeah,
questions too. It's not just like, oh, so what do you do?
right, right, yeah,
No, you have to be
yeah,
like, no, I'm actually curious, like what makes you tick? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's
mhm,
not, it's not for everyone. Like, I know it's a skill, it's a soft skill.
yeah,
Luckily, I was born with that curiosity where
mm-hmm,
I'll love to meet someone and be like, all right, dude, so what kind of car do you drive? Oh, that's awesome.
right,
What's the oil change on that? Like, I'll just start
mm-hmm,
asking questions just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you have to be
People
genuine
connect.
with your
People
message.
connect. And I find that, and that's why we talk about it in our sales course, because it's just, you got to drop the just asking, and learn how to be human, because at the end of the day, you're building relationship in your community, and that's what it's about. We want to make profits, but we also want to build relationships. So I want to ask you something, because we have a few minutes here. So reiterate again about yourself, and how can people get a hold of you? What kind of things do you do for those that are listening? Say, man, I really want to connect with him. I think he can help me. How can we reach you?
Yeah, no, I know we went off a couple tangents there, but yeah, I mean, essentially my business is just through Facebook. So, I do have a website, we have everything else, but if you ever want to reach me directly through Facebook, that's where my customer base is through Facebook and Instagram, and it's built up through Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So having a website, sure, it's a good landing page. If I ever want to run ads, put it towards the landing page. But yeah, just follow me on Facebook. I have my own group where coming up, I'm going to be doing a Facebook ad tutorial. It's just essentially a how-to.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for those excuse me, those DIY, business owners out there, they're like, I want to give this a shot. I want to know how it works. And
Mm-hmm.
I commend you. I'll at least guide you in the right steps. Excuse me. Very dry here in Arizona. But you want to give them the right tools in their tool belt to do the job
Yeah.
correctly. And when you see a lot of these marketers that are out there, they're gonna just offer you 30 leads for free. This is that for free. And you have no idea how they're doing it. I had another guy reach out to me in my very first, I think I tried it for 2 days, where I
Mm-hmm.
said, hey, just to be straight up with you, I'm just starting out. I want to get you 2 to 3 jobs. Let's connect.
Mm-hmm.
Hit me up. He's just like, all right, shoot me over 3 people. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I was like, so this is how it works. He was like, oh, so this is just not working out. And I was like, well, no. Ended up having, I think I spent my Friday night just talking to that guy, seeing where he was. But it's all about just making the connection. So in this Facebook group and posting that tutorial on how to do the ads, people have no idea how to do it. And there's so many different, like I said, marketers that are out there. It's a science. It's kind of like if I were to tell you, cook me some chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to have a different recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook ads, Instagram ads, everyone has the same buttons to click,
Yeah.
but it's having a strategy behind those buttons that really makes a difference. A
Yeah.
great example of this is I just saw a YouTube video of like how-to ads just popped
Mm-hmm.
up on my feed, and I was like, I'm going to watch this, see what happens. His process was very different from mine. My process is more from a data analytical standpoint, where when we push out ads, we want to do a group of 4, right? Push out those 4, and you're going to be duplicating this. It's going to be, picture it this way, 2 different copies. Let's say one's a picture, one's a video.
Mm-hmm.
We'll duplicate those 2. And on the pictures, there'll be one ad that has a targeted audience. And that's where you make sure that your lead quality is good. That's, you can do income, you can do, age. Typically with service industry, you want to focus around 27 to 30 at the minimum age. That's just the typical house buying age. And then you can Google all these statistics on your own just to figure it out along the way. But then you want to take those, you want to change just a little bit. So one of those pictures will do a targeted messages, to your audience. The other one we'll leave open. We'll let Facebook kind of figure it out. And Facebook's algorithm is very good with this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not perfect. So you still need to give it some human intervention. And then we'll do the same thing with the video ad. We'll change the message slightly, keep the same offer, or even try a different offer. And then you want to push that out there, and you want to spend $33 at minimum a day. That $33 will get you to $1,000 a month. And the reason behind having that minimum, your typical HVAC new install lead, we'll just talk about new installs, is around $80, right? So if you're spending $33 a day, it's going to take you 3 days to get there. So the more money you spend, the quicker it's going to work. But still, $1,000 a month is a good starting point. And then what that'll do is it's going to use those 4 ads. Facebook is going to recognize which ads are getting more traction, and then it's going to start throwing more money at that. And so just having that basic understanding, it is going to help people so much more, because if you want to do it by yourself, perfect. Now you have the tools to do it where you'll see results and see the power behind it. The beautiful part about it for me is it takes a lot of work, and there's still a lot more tricks like keywords. If you were just a typical, like if you were to go into a Facebook ad and you saw, oh, what are the keywords for your industry? What's your ideal avatar? It's called an avatar, but it's your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
What do they look like? A pro tip there, no more than 12. Because you're feeding an algorithm, and
Mm.
not enough data is just as bad as too much data. So the sweet spot for that is 12 different key behaviors. You want to get into that, and then just kind of, let Facebook do its thing. So there's a lot more. I know I kind of went off the
Yeah.
question about how you can reach me, but there's just so much information that's out there. And then you have to constantly look at your KPIs, like your click-through rate, your cost per
Yeah.
click, how many people are actually seeing the message. And then what do I do if one of those is down? And there's a whole process to it where you have to constantly be on top of it. And that's why with these smaller time guys, if you want to do it by yourself, fantastic. But you have to understand time is involved. It's just like your organic market. You're going to have to take time, understand it. And there's so many different recipes on how to do it that you don't even know which one's correct.
Yeah.
So coming from time-tested, proven strategies, that's where we put out just like a quick little how-to guide. And that way you can at least get started. And if you see results,
Yeah.
if you don't, ask me a question and we'll get from there.
I love it. I love
So
it. And I truly believe in, and shout out to my business coach, Kedma O, that always says there's $1,000 an hour tasks and there's $10 an hour tasks. And if you're the owner of an HVAC company,
Mhm.
you shouldn't be running ads. You need to be out there fixing ACs or creating processes for your employees or hiring funnels. All of the stuff you just mentioned is going like this to me, right? And I can tell it's
Yeah.
amazing. Why should I? And I'm gonna put the link when I post this to your tutorial on how to do it yourself for those of you that want to do it yourself. But
Mhm.
all of that information you just shared, obviously you're very good at it. Why not take, if you're an HVAC company, one change out that you do that month or one repair and dedicate that one out of 20 jobs you did and give it to someone who can maximize that in these ads. That's why I believe in let Brian do it. Everything he just mentioned is obviously you're good at it, right?
You
So
got to delegate,
yeah,
especially in business. Your
delegate.
job as a business owner is to run the fundamentals of your business and
Hmm.
think more big picture. You don't
Right.
need to be in the weeds with
Yeah.
everything. Like you're busy doing installs if you don't have enough techs.
Mm.
You're busy just trying to get new clientele. Like you're busy with your day to day, just doing those, even just those two things
Right.
that can chew up an entire day for a business owner.
Right.
You need to
Right.
learn to delegate out the work that is hired out. Just like how
Right.
you hire a tech to take on more jobs because you're busy,
Hmm.
you have to hire out for other aspects of your business that you can't do yourself.
Right.
You're not like, I'm not going to fix my own AC unit. I have no idea how. What I do
Hmm.
know is how to do algorithms and how to, actually
Right.
do market exposure and stuff like that. So it's
Hmm.
kind of having a partnership. And that's why I explain to every client that, or even every person we talk to, I'm like, you have to understand this is a partnership. It's not you hire me and you just get jobs. No, it's you hire us. I'm going to make sure that one, you're contacting those leads within 24 hours. I have to make sure that you're entering them into the
Hmm.
CRM that we'll provide for you. It's really a partnership because if I'm doing all the work, and we actually there's a business there where my partner actually ran into where he's like, all of his metrics are perfect and something wasn't working. And I found out that it was his sales process that was absolutely tanking everything. And
Yes.
so we'll have those conversations. And then a bonus part for me is I don't shut up. So if we're clients, like just like with you, we've had conversations. And I was like, well, how come you haven't done warranties before? And you're like, well, I just don't think they work. And I was like, okay. And then you posted it and you found out
Hmm.
something, you add in another additional 1.5, K to your installs.
Yeah.
Conversations like that work. So any client that I have, we could talk for hours and I'll go over, business strategies I've learned from the bank over my last decade. But that's, it's not something I can sell because there's no liability with it. But just
Hmm.
having that information, be like, well, I learned this from another guy 10 states over from you, and he's
Right.
doing it, it's working. But you have to know as the business owner within your location, what works best for your consumer base.
Hmm.
And that's something that everyone really has to tie into because every place is different.
Yeah, I love it, man. We have to do a part two and a part three because you're giving
Oh
so
man,
much.
like we could go up on tangents just talking. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
so I'm gonna post. So Brian Henge, Ad Henge is the name of the company, right? So when I
Yeah.
post this, I will put the link to the how-to video, right? And then you can follow him. We met on Facebook, so you can follow him, Brian Henge, or you can look up Ann Hedge to his website. And I think Brian's the man. I believe in who, not how, right? And I think Brian is the who. So shout out to you. Hey, I loved it. Let's connect and let's find a day to do a part two.
Absolutely. There's so many questions I still have for you for being in the service industry for 20 years. Come on,
Yeah.
that's like an untapped gold mine right there, where it's just, and not gold mine is the sense like I'm gaining something from it. It's just my curiosity and the knowledge that you have. Like I want to learn like when you first started, how you got your client. You just have a wealth of information. So I'm always pumped to talk to you.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Brian, it's been fun. It's been nice. Let's do it again. Everyone, thanks for watching. Have a good day.